Welcome to Unlikely Bosses, the podcast that lives in a parked car, runs on real talk about business, life, and everything in between. We are Andy and Danielle, sisters, business partners who never had it figured out. Still don't. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, learning as you go, and keeping it moving.
All right.
Every episode, someone is joining us in the back seat to share their unlikely story. This is Unlikely Bosses. No script and definitely no plan.
Bonjour. I am so excited. I can't.
Would you like croissants?
Oh
my
course,
God,
yes.
I felt like I had
Let's
to
leave it
bring
here.
a little something.
That
This
is so
is-
for you
cute.
guys.
This is amazing.
Why not?
Oh
It
my
is
God, I
so
love
fun.
it. Thank you.
I'm going to have someone my turns over.
Okay.
Okay, so we're very excited.
Yes,
Yes, to have Sandy Hunt. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, thank you so much for
Hi.
having me.
Nurse practitioner, founder of the Agacnp-C. Agacnp-C is a French-inspired med spa in Hingham, Massachusetts, which I love. We're going to get into the spa side of it all, but in a little bit, we're going to dive into you.
Oh,
Can we
okay.
just start
Sure.
there?
I love that.
All right, good. So right off the bat, what was your relationship with beauty growing up? Like the early years?
It's such a great question, and I feel like hindsight is so 2020. You don't realize how things are shaping you.
Yeah.
I was raised between the south of France and California, and so beauty was a part of life. I grew up in LA, so my mother and my grandmother are really the two most influential and inspiring figures in my life from a young age. And so what I saw, it was almost this pull where in California, beauty was, there was Hollywood, there was this external beauty. And then when I would spend my summers in France, I saw a totally different side of beauty, which was much quieter. It wasn't in your face. It was in the French culture, you're expected to maintain your sense of self, which is, I think that there's two sides of a woman. I think that the internal and the external are married. Well, clearly they're married. When it came to being in France, there was this belief that somehow as you got older, it was more to look forward to. Instead of in California or in LA, where it was sort of this age was this, once a woman turns X age, let's put her out to pasture.
Right.
It's the total opposite feeling in France. There's something almost seductive about turning older. I remember the 50th birthday parties that I used to go to, 60th, 70th. And I remember thinking as a young girl, oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. Because
I'm emotional. That's amazing.
It was like you get this freedom. You know yourself so well by then. The expectations that you sort of put on yourself or that you feel externally, they disappear. And so you see this really beautiful chapter of beauty that's really inner. But I did love growing up and doing, makeup with my girlfriends. And when I was in college, I was the one who waxed my whole volleyball team. So I think it's always been a part of who I am. My mother's beautiful, and that's just always been her.
Yeah.
But she's humble about it. She's quiet about it. I don't even think she realizes how gorgeous she is. And so it's always been this, that true beauty is quiet. It's not in your face.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as luxury. Luxury is quiet. It doesn't scream.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
I love that.
Good
No, you
answer.
did. All right. So
Yeah.
before this endeavor, you spent, over 10 years emergency acute care medicine. What do you think that chapter taught you about women wellness and caring for the whole person?
Wow. That time of my life where I was a trauma nurse, I worked in level 1 trauma centers. It really taught me one huge lesson, which is that we really don't have problems. Problems blindside you. There's a saying that when you have your health, you have 100 problems, but when you don't have your health, you have one problem, right?
Yeah, right.
And
right.
so when I see when I used to see it, when I worked in the ER, I saw most people on the worst days of their lives, right? This was when you would come into the emergency room. And what I realized is how precious life is. And so I think it translates into what I do today, because I'm really able to sort of help women in their mindset of, oh, I'm turning X, my birthday's coming up, I'm going to be X age. And I try to remind them how lucky you are to have that birthday. There's so many people who would have loved to have a 40th or 50th or 60th birthday. And it grounded me in that way. It also, everything else is spilled milk, right? When it comes to the problems. And I think I grew a really deep appreciation of our geriatric population. I call them the wisest among us. Yeah. But there's such a, I think that finding some dignity in a setting like that, especially in your older years, is so important. After I worked in trauma, I did hospice for a few years. Hospice holds a really close place to my heart, because I had felt like I had seen all the worst ways of dying. And so to be able to give somebody the gift of some dignity with their death, to be in their home, to be surrounded by family. The trauma room is a place where you are, stripped naked, you have IVs, we have things all over you. It's a very dehumanizing situation. Yes. And in certain situations, it's exactly what you need, because it's life-saving. But when you're looking at somebody who's in their 90s and it's like, what are we doing? Why are we, I think in Western medicine, they view death as failure, right? So they do anything to prevent that one thing. But really, there can be, death is normal. Everybody's going to experience it. Yeah. And if you can find some way of really giving somebody dignity with it, it can really translate, especially for the family who have to live without them afterwards.
I mean, and we could cut this out or talk about it, but we experienced that with our dad. Like we were with him till the very last breath. I mean, we counted down how many breaths were left at the end. And that moment was all about giving him that dignity. Yes. Making sure that he didn't, because, he couldn't talk, but we know he would not want us to be having to care for him. Exactly. And so it was like, we got this, Dad. We've got you. Like, it's going to be okay. Yeah. So that end is very similar for everyone.
And it's so, that is a gift that you and Andy have too, to have had that moment with him where you weren't in this bright lit, sterile.
I can't imagine.
It can be very, very dehumanizing. And I think not only did you give him a gift, but you also have the gift of that memory, because so many people don't, and it's sort of instantly gone. It's ripped away. Right. Yeah. And so anytime you have the power to be able to pick your setting and give that to whoever's there, I mean, it is truly a gift. I've seen both sides of it, and I think I have a respect for death and understanding that it can be at any moment, and sometimes you can't predict it. And so for that reason, I really appreciate everything else. So and I think maybe it's part of my mission. Not only, beauty is one side of a woman. Wellness lives in the same woman. So beauty and wellness are both part of the same person, and they're not separated. And to be able to have somebody not only, have beautiful skin is always the priority, but then to realize that every day they have is a gift, to really push that messaging with every appointment and with every patient that I see, it translates to the rest of their life.
No, there's a direct correlation. You've talked openly about struggling. I think this was the beginning for you, and if I'm wrong, but you talked about struggling with acne and melasma and all of that. So you healed your skin. Was that the beginning of this journey for you, transitioning to this side of it?
Yes. Okay. There was no plan, intentional plan of entering the field of aesthetics or regenerative medicine. That I was critical care, acute care, I was trauma. I was planning on running ICU units when I became a nurse practitioner. Yeah. And what happened is that I had a bunch of children and my skin was a mess. People thought that my melasma was dirt. They used to try and wipe it off. Oh, wow. And it really affected me. I mean, I didn't want to go out. I felt like I had to go out with makeup on, and that's not who any of us really are. It's like this disconnect, right? And so what I started doing was printing literature and looking up. I knew nothing about aesthetics, but I would look it up and try and figure out my own ways of healing it, and really learning about skin and learning about the skin gut connection and how it's all connected.
Yep.
And that's where it sort of took off. But even from there, what's interesting is I just had an appointment with my first ever patient. So the first person I ever injected ever with a needle ever came in. And she said to me, it was so funny the first time I was your model when you were just learning how to do this, because I thought I was just coming in for like one thing. And then you were looking at me, you're like, but what about this? What about that? And I didn't realize that even from the start, I had always felt like looking at somebody globally was more important than just single areas.
Yeah, right.
You know, the exaggeration of a feature is treating one area, whereas the harmonization is when you really look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to go back and think, oh my gosh, I didn't realize even on my first day working, I was thinking, hold on, we can't just do lips. We can't just do cheeks, because then they're going to walk into the room first. We have to, what about the whole picture, you know?
Do you think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just, we just met. You've known Danielle, but it's so powerful to like hear your story from the beginning and then what you're doing now, because everything, it makes total sense. It's like
You were meant to be here.
Both worlds. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I agree. And I feel so, sometimes I wake up and I think to myself, how did I wind up here?
Yeah.
You know, I think what has carried me is I really believe in what I do. Like I love what I do.
You can feel it.
You can feel
I
it.
love
can
it.
feel your
And
energy.
It doesn't feel, and I've been able to really create a space where I'm doing what I think is best.
Yeah.
And I live, you know, in the same town as all my patients.
Right.
Of course I have more patients now of international or nationally and internationally, but for the most part I run into everybody. And so my guiding principle since day one, and my husband really was the one who said, this is going to be your philosophy, is Sandy, do what you can sleep with at night.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the back end stuff. I will take care of that, but always do what's best for your patients, no matter what that means. Just take care of them like you would your family.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Are you me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is great. All right, this is really about women and like just aging and self-perception. But what age do you see women really noticing signs of aging?
40s. I would say
Yeah.
there's
Like
something.
when they turn 40.
No, it's not when you turn 40. 40, you're still sort of 30s mindset.
Yeah.
Something happens. I hear day in and day out around 43, 44, where now there's a visual difference and also a physical difference.
Okay.
So either the fatigue or the like the hormonal component, even if it's just premenopausal or perimenopausal, it starts to play. It starts to, whether it's in your hair is thinning, or the texture feels different, or the vibrance is losing, or you're just thinking about all the different ways you can, you know, secretly kill your husband at night or something. There's all different facets of this.
Right. Yeah, there is.
But that's when I really hear more and more a definite, like, okay, something changed this year.
Yeah.
Do you think that women compare themselves to what they used to look like, or other women, or both?
It's most of the time it's what they used to look like.
The mourning. Yeah. Well, you're mourning what, you know, you look at an old picture and you're like, or you look in a mirror and you're like, that's not even me.
Exactly. And it's not that you still feel like that person, right? And it's not even that you want to be that in your 20s anymore.
No.
That's that version of yourself sort of had to retire. Like you had to get domesticated at some
100%.
point, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an appreciation for her, but it's not that you want to be there, but it's that you still feel like her, and you're trying to eat your vegetables, you're trying to drink water once a day, you know, you're doing all of the things. But when you look in the mirror, you're thinking, why do I look so tired? Or why, and so that is the whole goal of the French NP, is the disconnect. So it's not that you're trying to be somebody else or look differently. It's that what you feel like the way you feel inside is not lining up with the external.
Right.
And so my goal is not to change anything, but rather to reconnect you to yourself. That way, when you look into the mirror, yes, okay, that's what I feel like. And then the translation of that is is enormous. When you start feeling like you're in the right body, you know, you're feeling good, you're feeling yourself, right? That energy goes out into the world, and you know, like attracts like, and you start feeling that coming back to you.
100%.
So when the biggest goal of my patients is always skin first. I could care less about a wrinkle, right? But and so the way that I try to really push it is that if I can get your skin looking beautiful, and then you're getting complimented everywhere you go, where people are saying, oh my God, Andy, your skin just looks, those are the compliments that then feed you. Then you go out another way. It's like this beautiful ripple effect.
100%. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, we'll get into more of that too. And then just on that, when you look at social media, what do you like? Yes, we're battling our own age, right? And our own past, but how much does that play a part? Or are you able to just be like,
in social media?
Do women come in and they're like constantly comparing themselves, or
I think
for
me,
the reality of it?
What I've decided to do personally and professionally is, number one, always be a girl's girl. So you'll never hear me talking down somebody else who I think is sending the wrong messaging, or is it's not.
We're riding together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is really focus on the empowering component, building other people up. I think we can go much further if we go together. And especially now, women supporting women is such a movement.
I agree. Yeah.
And I try to leave the noise away. So I actually don't follow a ton of other providers, or and it's not because I don't wildly support them. It's that I feel like I lose focus if I'm it's distracting, right? So I can grow grass where I water it, and I can't grow grass in somebody else's garden. So I'm always just thinking, okay, don't get distracted by the noise. What I do is I am always researching. And so one of my roles that I view is that I'm trying to prevent women, patients, men from jumping on trends that won't serve you long term.
Yeah, right. 100%.
So you won't see us jump on a trend just because it's the latest thing out. I have to read the research. I have to know the clinical studies. There has to be, we can't just say something's great because we think it's great. What's the evidence behind it?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's, and I was going to talk about this, but this is where I think one of your biggest assets is the trust. Right. And how important is trust for you from a client? Like, it's so important, and vice versa. You're in that chair. And for me personally, I'm putting such complete trust in you.
I take that so seriously.
Right.
I mean, especially once I opened up the French NP, I felt that responsibility of this not being transactional, but rather me really thinking about you long term. So what do I want for Danielle and Andy in the future? And that requires you also trusting me enough to share a little bit of yourselves, because there are different flavors, right? So some are more edgy, some are really natural, and so it's a little bit of a love affair. You know, it's this feeling of connection where when we're together in that room, nothing else, there's nothing else, there's nobody else. It's me and you, right? And I think that when I got really serious about my role, and I really embraced that was what I wanted to do for women, my social life, I would say, really shrunk down, because I became so laser focused on my profession that I feel like in my practice, and in my world is enormous in the practice. I learned so much from the different people who come in, so many interesting stories, great recommendations. But what I'm also doing is really researching to be an incredible referral source for people. So whether I can do something or not, I always have somebody for your hair, your nails, your styling, your plastic surgery, if that is going to be a thing. Who's the best, who's the best at what they do? I have that information because of how many superstar women I work with. And I think that that's one of the added value, and that's part of the added quality that we add to our practice, is not only what we can give you, but also the information we have to help you in all the other areas. You know, business coaches. I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, you know, and getting them set up, helping them with branding. You know, even I can't do that, but I have the people for that who are the best at what they do.
Right.
And I think that's, you know, when you think about what's luxury is anticipation, right? Luxury is anticipation, but true concierge is never having to ask. And that's what, so I'm in that moment with you, truly, completely in the moment. People ask me the ages of my kids and I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know, they're in college, who knows? Who are they? Because I'm so in that moment with you, and I'm thinking not only about you aesthetically, but also, okay, I'm hearing you saying this about your, you know, gnawing knee pain. I have a guy for that. You know, and so those are the referrals that it's part of, again, really taking care of the whole person as much as I can.
Well, but that too, you know, like there's so much scientific evidence about like you as your patient or your client, like my trust in you and your trust in your process, like that's where the healing comes. That's where you see the results. Like there's power in that, right?
I think there's so much power, and the longer my relationship with you, the deeper that goes. Because they call medicine a practice, right? So this is aesthetic medicine or regenerative medicine. It's a specialty of medicine, and I'm still using these medications. So I take that very seriously. But I think part of that trust is knowing that I'm in it with you. So whether things go great, whether things don't go well, I'm in it with you. I would never abandon a patient. So I think for better, for worse, sometimes I'm in it with you. It can be a little bit, you know, especially if there's ever a complication or something, I'm thinking about you as much as you're probably thinking about you. But that I tend to be able to maintain that trust because it doesn't matter, like there's no ego involved. I really just want what's best for you.
So this is like a twofer, but is there a moment with a client that's changed you? Because like obviously they're very vulnerable when people come in. So what is that experience like, and what does that teach you?
Some of the first memory that came to mind when you asked me that was this patient who came in, and as I'm working on her, I'm noticing that one side of her neck is much more swollen than the other. She's young, early 30s. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm going through my clinical, this is where like that critical care experience and education helps me. And I'm thinking through all the differentials of, am I going to freak her out right now? And so I said to her, listen, at the end of the appointment, I said, I want you to go get this checked out. Well, it turns out, you know, it was something that saved her life. And that tends to happen all the time. Another patient, she brought her husband in. He just wanted to get a quick laser, and he had this button up, and I just happened to get a glance below his chest, and I said, hey, hold on, what is that? Let me see that. And I'm French, so I have no, I'm all over you, right? There's no boundaries. And I said, hold on, you need to go get that checked out, like now. I don't like that at all. I want you to go to a dermatologist. I want that to be looked at under a microscope. That was a melanoma. So, you know, these little moments like that are where I'm like, oh my God, thank God that I said something, that I had the foresight. So those moments I think are very obviously impactful. And the ones that are a little bit quieter are when you know, one patient came in and was in tears and just said that, and it's hard for me to absorb it, because to me, I look at people and I'm, well, obviously you're that chick, right? You, of course, this is, you know, I just reminded you who you are. But to really hear somebody in tears say that they have better relationships in every aspect of their life because they feel better within themselves. That's when I just think, okay, that's the job.
Point. That's it.
The goal.
Exactly. Yep.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So what does graceful aging feel like to you? Like, what do you think? We know what it kind of might look like. We've talked about that a little bit, but what do you think it feels like? And maybe you answered that with the birthdays that you used to you see those women celebrate those. Like, I love that you said that.
I think that, women don't need more services. I think they need to feel seen. And I think graceful aging is being in a space with yourself where you can receive that connection with other people. Because when you don't feel like you kind of have this wall up.
Yeah, it's
right?
a disconnect. Yeah.
You don't want to be seen because you don't even like what you're seeing.
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
And when you are in a space of just, it's like this, I'm thinking the word, it's in French, but like this contentment, right? What you're able to hear and see and experience is so much more powerful. It's sort of like that feeling when you laugh, like you do a belly laugh, and then you think to yourself, oh my God, I just like laughed really hard. I can't remember the last time I did that.
Yeah.
That when I think about aging gracefully, I think about those little moments where you're really grateful that you just had that feeling. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the way that looks physically is that you always look appropriate. You look your age, right?
Yeah.
You don't need, everybody can look their age. It's a gift.
Yep.
I think you look appropriate, you look your age, and that nothing is exaggerated. And so in an aesthetic component, gracefully aging is totally reminds me of my mother and my grandma. My mother's name is Grace, and my grandmother's name is Annette. And they embraced that, but really it's in the details. So like whatever you do, like coming to get interviewed by you guys today, I was excited. I was like, what can I, just like a little moment of appreciation that you guys, are thinking of me. And that to me is it all, I don't know, it's that inner outside. So that's where the wellness program was important for us.
Yep. All right. So I think you're known for saying more no than yes. Can you talk about that just a little, which I love, but what is that, how did that come? Was that right from day one?
It's hard when you're just starting up and you need to pay some bills. It's hard to say no. Let's be completely honest. Luckily, I'm in a position now where I can say no if I don't feel like it will support the mission.
Right. I think any business is like that, right?
I think it also feeds into the trust, though. Like you said, when I start saying no to people for procedures that that they want and that are expensive, and I'm saying no, I don't want to do that. They're like
immediately,
really? And I'm like, yeah, you don't need it, right? But there's where the long-term relationship comes through. I'm in it for the long haul. I want to grow old with everybody, right? And so I want to be able to talk about 20 years ago, and and for me that means that sometimes you don't do something right in that moment. I think saying no is extremely important, especially as a provider, because again, remember, I'm working with medications that can have very serious side effects. And so this is not the oath that you take is do no harm, right? That's the first guiding principle of medicine. And so to be able to say no, it helps me sleep better at night. I think that we've all had those patients where we think to ourselves, like, I knew I should have said no, right? Like, I didn't, and I didn't trust myself. You have to go through that, I think, just as a maturity perspective. I mean, I can say, I say no all the time now, but I've made every mistake in the book. It's how you learn, right?
That's it.
But then once you start learning no, and then you go to bed at night, you're like, I can sleep. Perfect. You remember the nights that you said yes when you should have said no. And then you're up all night going, I knew it. I heard that voice.
You've evolved the French NP into more integrated wellness space, which I think is needed, clearly. But bringing in a full-time hormone doctor for HRT, all of that. Why was that essential? Why was that the next step?
Beauty and wellness are not separate.
No.
They are two sides of the same woman. And one of the first things that I started noticing when I was taking care of patients day in and day out is that this whole aging thing is coming, right? And particularly menopause. And I felt very unprepared for that. And so I went and got certified, and I understand it, but I thought to myself, hold on, it sort of deserves its own moment and its own provider.
Yep.
It would be hard for me to do your aesthetics and then meanwhile talk about the what, like it would just be, it felt like, all right, this deserves its own specialty. And so that's where I thought to myself, if this is the true connection, because it also impacts the skin. So of course, skin is my specialty, but that gut health, hormonal health, peptides are huge. You guys, I can't wait to sort of explore that with you. It again translates to everything else. And so bringing on this wellness component felt like a full circle moment where now we can really take care of the patient in its full capacity. And I think what's so wonderful about the wellness program is that when patients come for their appointment, the appointment is whatever you want to talk about, right? So when you go to your primary care doctor, it can be so hard. They have to hit all these checks and make sure, the insurance stuff. And that when I was talking to Dr. Zarella about joining us, I said, what are your goals? And she said, you have no idea how many years I sat there when a patient would bring up something like menopause, and I would be looking at the clock like I only have 5 minutes left to talk to her, but I really want to talk to her about this. She deserves to at least get education on it and get some options, but I don't have time.
Yeah.
And so we do an hour and a half with her. She wants to hear your story from birth to today. I mean, it's a fascinating procedure. Like, it's a fascinating journey to sit through an appointment with her. And it's interesting how she can pick up on these little details that you don't think mean anything, right? I was, this, that, but it does. There's so much significance. And so one of the first things we do is gut testing, right? We want to let's get the easy stuff figured out. Do we have any gluten, dairy, what allergies? That's easy to do, right? And it's inexpensive. And then we can move forward. So then we're looking at your hormonal health. We're looking at your energy, your sleep. There's a woman, and she has a professional side. She's maternal. Some women have babies. So you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a professional, but the woman in there is so important. And so that feeling like a woman, feeling sexy is not vulgar. It's such a superpower, and sexiness can be subtle too. You can look at somebody who's wearing this deep V, ass out, and be like, ugh, but you look at somebody else who's wearing just like maybe showing a little collarbone, and you're like, God, I don't know why I'm so attracted to this woman right now, right? Like, this is it's just so fun. It's so interesting.
I think you're 100% right. What's next for FrenchNP? Like, what are you building towards as a practice, a philosophy? Like, where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, where's this going? Because you're running out of space already. Just throwing that out there.
I have a really exciting next year planned.
You do.
And
it's amazing.
I think a piece that I really like is the giving back piece. So I'd love to be able to incorporate more philanthropic pieces. I'd love to be able to help people who have cleft palates, right? The lip deformities. I'd love to do all of that pro bono. I love facial trauma and reconstructive aesthetics. So I do that. Oftentimes those patients don't want to be featured on social media, understandably. But talk about an impact, somebody who was disfigured and now you could give that back. So things like that are really important to me. And then there's an academy. So I love teaching, I love all of that. So being able to teach other injectors and other providers nationwide on the philosophy of being harmonious in your intention. I think elevating the whole practice itself, elevating the whole specialty of aesthetic medicine and regenerative medicine for all of us is important, not just, just because I have an elevated one. I want them all to be at that level. So we have that type of reputation, and we can take the stigma away from it. So that's a big piece too. But yeah, I want to stay boutique. I want to stay concierge. I don't want people to feel like, oh, she used to be, so I definitely want to maintain that intimacy. I think having Megan come, who's my nurse, she's expanded availability, and she's a mirror image of me. She's just the younger, hotter version. she's great. She's fabulous. But she's a great addition and understands the assignment.
Yeah.
So things like that, just being able to have accessibility, availability, and focusing on what I love to do so that it doesn't get stale or dry.
Right.
But podcasting maybe, with you guys are so inspiring, and learning different stories, but it's all about the research. So, going to Korea, they're the,
yes,
we're going to do some field trips,
Oh,
Lizzie and I,
fun.
we're going to go to Korea. We're going to go to London. We can go all over France and just do some really good research on how to bring the newest stuff, the most impactful regenerative aspect.
Yeah.
So in terms of where's the aesthetic specialty going in, the field of aesthetics is going, it used to be like Botox, fillers. It's taking a sharp turn into regenerative medicine.
Right. Yes. Right.
It is really becoming the focus of, instead of saying, how can we treat the symptoms? Now what we're saying is, if we heal the host can heal itself.
Of course.
Right?
Right.
Your body is a miracle, the things it can do. It's you can create life, So if we just figure out how to reduce the inflammation, really, inflammation is the root of all evil.
Yep.
Reduce the inflammation in the host can then go and take care of itself. And now we're getting longevity, quality of life, deeper connections, more, it's just all beneficial, and we can just spread that in the world, and then, we can all just feed off of it.
People are craving it, and you see it more and more, and it's so powerful. And I'm obsessed with what you're doing. I didn't know what you were doing. And I feel like the stigma around it, there's just, women, we're complicated beings in a good way. And it's like, we that's our job. We have to look at our body like how you would look like to an advisory board or a boardroom. It's like, you need every aspect, and they all need to talk to each other.
They do.
And you need to try to become the best version of yourself you can become, and you cannot do that in silos. It has to be collaborative.
No, I completely agree.
And what you're doing is so powerful.
And
every aspect. And remember, your body is going to change like 20 times in your life, right? You go up, you go out, you go up, you go like this, and to be able to sort of lean into that and embrace it is it's so much more. It makes life so much easier, It's so much less pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody notices these little things that we see in ourselves, and just owning it and leaning into it, and sort of taking yourself very seriously, but not taking yourself seriously at all. That it's the balance. And I think that's where maybe the French inspiration comes in, is that they, French people love a good cigarette a couple times a year, right? They love a glass of wine a couple days a week, but they're not doing anything in excess. So you can't be, in my opinion, with everybody that I talk to, even with skincare, I'm not a like, it needs to be like this every night. What I say is, if we can be like 75% good and then 25% delinquent, that works. It actually does great. I am pretty focused Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I love a good fast food drop. I love the largest pair of clothing I can find. I mean, there's different versions of me. Who I am here is radically different than who I am at home. At home, I am, on the ground eating old mac and cheese with my 5-year-old, and that part of me is super important and also has value. I don't have to look like I'm put together in order to bring value to the table or give somebody. One of the funniest things that I do all the time that I swear everybody should start doing is, when somebody wants to cross the road. My dad taught me this. He says, I only do it for beautiful women, but he does it for everybody. If he's at a stop sign, he goes like this. Right? And I did it to the postman the other day. I was at the stop sign right in Hingham Square, and he goes, thank you.
I'm gonna start to.
And it's like the funniest. It's this silent moment with you and a stranger, but you just made their whole day. Because they're like, oh, well, thank you. It's like their little red carpet moment. And I can't tell you, like, little things like that I love to do, because it just makes people smile. It's unexpected, but it's just, you're just giving a little bit of a, you take your time.
All right. How about you ready for a lightning round?
Sure.
I mean, I could talk to you for hours.
I
still
know.
have like so much
I mean,
to
I have
say.
questions for you guys too. My God.
All right, this is just the answer, likely or unlikely.
Okay.
It's completely random. Okay. You knew exactly what the French NP would become when you opened your doors.
Unlikely.
You still feel like you're just getting started.
Likely.
Ever sought business advice from an astrologer?
We know the answer.
Who, Jill Jardine?
Yes.
But business advice?
Oh yeah. Have you ever asked her about business?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't.
She's our what do we call her? Chief astrology officer.
Oh.
We
AO?
we go to her all the time. Is this deal going to go through?
Really? Is she
Should
right?
we hire?
Or it's more about timing.
It's timing
Like
too.
she'll say, it's gonna get a little, like, just give it time, it will work out.
Or this is the best hire your company's going to make.
Oh.
It
Okay,
is
well,
amazing.
now I'll make an appointment.
Yes.
I am huge on manifesting. I will tell you that.
Yes,
I
yes.
have been at night, I can create what's going to happen. Like, I have to be careful.
What's your secret?
process.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's sort of just repetitive, I guess. It's like you develop a mantra.
Mhm.
I love traveling, and I hadn't traveled in a few years. And so at night, I would picture myself in all these different places. And my husband literally said to me, you need to stop manifesting travel, because in 1 year I went to Thailand, Turks and Caicos, Cabo. I went to 6 or 7 different
Right.
places, and he was
Right.
like, okay, new manifestation.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't been home, you know?
It's real.
It's
It
so
works.
real.
The consciousness is
Powerful.
real.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
the simulation, right?
Yeah.
You just have to get on the right
100%. All right, confidence gets better with age.
Likely.
All day.
So likely.
You can tell someone's mood before you even touch their face.
Likely.
Yeah.
You've diagnosed a hormone imbalance before.
Likely.
You have a favorite type of client, but you'll never admit it. That's okay.
Yeah, likely. One who just trusts that I am an expert at what I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's,
Not so resistant.
like, if I were trying to tell you how to run your company, you'd be like, have you ever even read about what I do? You know,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Trust. Yeah.
You can spot a woman's confidence level.
Oh, the moment she walks in.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than when she started kind of small, and then we've been together for a couple
Yeah.
months, and like the end of, I always say year one, like, give me a year with you. When they walk in
Yeah.
and they are just like, hello,
Take my
okay,
coat.
let's go. What are we doing? Like that. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I
That's
love
great.
seeing women own who they are,
Yeah.
rock who they are. It doesn't take anything from me. This is
Right.
like where
Right.
we need to shift our mindset.
Right.
It is so, it's like contagious. I want to know how she did, like, what got you there?
Yeah.
Can I have some? You know,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's delicious.
Right. All right. Most women underestimate how beautiful they are.
All of them.
All of them.
All of
all
them.
of us. Yes.
We all do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Last question. If every woman listening could walk away with one message from you today, what would it be?
The message that is so important for women to say to themselves every single day is that there's nothing they have to do, wear, say, be to have value and meaning. The way that they are, the way that you arrive is perfect as you are.
Right.
I also think the one message that I hope to be able to accomplish is that if I can help somebody, if you feel like if you don't feel like yourself, I can help. It might not even be what I do specifically,
Right.
but nobody has to continue living their life feeling disconnected from themselves and feeling like by getting help somehow that makes them weak, or I hear the word vanity all the time. I couldn't disagree more with that. The first step is just one at a time. Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so finding the most important piece is finding somebody who you trust, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else. There's a million lids to all these pots. It doesn't have to be me, but find somebody who you trust, who who is good at what they do,
Mhm.
has your best intentions in mind, and will guide you.
Right.
You, like, this can be your year, right? I call it a chapter, but it's almost a really good way of approaching every year, every season is, instead of looking forward, put yourself at the end and look back and say, at the end of this year, what do I want to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do I want to be able to say I achieved or I did?
Yeah.
How, and then write them down. 1 week, 5 weeks, 5 years. What do you want to be able to say you did? For me, honestly, one of my goals for this year was call your friends more often. Like I just
right.
feel like I haven't been able, I'm either French NP or I'm mom, right?
Right.
Or wife. And I miss my girlfriends.
Yeah,
and
right.
so it's a small goal, but it's a cup filler.
But it's
right?
powerful.
It is.
So little things like that. You can have big goals of like, I want to be able to say I've been able to do this professionally by the end of the year, or it can be smaller. Like I would love to actually take a bath like twice
Right.
this year. You
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
little things that
Right.
you dream of.
Right. I can't thank you.
Oh my
enough.
gosh.
Like
I
this
know.
I need
I gotta talk for
several
2 more
appointments.
hours.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we need to go in because I have to book appointments, but this was amazing.